Updates are coming in fast and fluid, and tonight we're bringing you fully reconstructed fact-based deep dive into one of the serious federal cases unfolding in real time. From the suspect's background and media footprint to the Department of Justice's charges and the manifesto itself, this is a complete picture as we know it right now. You're watching the Unfiltered Political Lens. Let's get into it. The suspect identified by federal authorities as Cole Thomas Allen is a 31-year-old man from California with no prior history or major federal charges publicly documented before this incident. The investigators are actively building a full behavioral and background profile with early indicators pointing towards growing political fixation and isolation in the months leading up to the attack. At the same time, the officials have not confirmed any direct ties to organized extremist groups, and he is currently believed to have acted alone. In the days leading up to the event, Allen traveled across state lines to Washington, D.C., bringing multiple weapons with him and positioning himself strategically. He checked into the Washington Hilton, the same venue hosting the White House Correspondents Dinner, giving him close proximity and access. Federal investigators have emphasized that this level of preparation clearly indicated premeditation. At some point prior to the attack, Allen armed himself with a shotgun, a .38 caliber handgun, and several knives, creating multiple avenues to carry out the assault. Transporting these weapons across state lines is a central component of the federal charges now filed against him by Janine Pirro. The combination and quantity of weapons point to the deliberate planning rather than an impulsive act. As the evening unfolded and high-profile guests gathered, Allen moved within or near secured areas of the hotel, approaching a security checkpoint. And according to law enforcement, the situation escalated rapidly as he forced his way forward. Within moments, he opened fire, discharging multiple rounds in a densely populated environment. The gunfire triggered immediate panic, but also a rapid and coordinated response from Secret Service and federal agents already on the site. One Secret Service officer was struck but survived due to body armor, a detail officials say likely prevented a fatality. Most critically, the suspect was subdued before reaching the main ballroom where the highest concentration of officials and media figures were located. The authorities believe the timing and positioning of the attack were intentional, potentially aimed at maximizing visibility and impact. The fact that he has stood short of the main event space may have prevented a far more catastrophic outcome, and federal officials have made it clear that seconds made the difference in this case. Immediately following the arrest, the FBI and Department of Justice launched a full-scale investigation, treating this as a top-tier federal case. This includes forensic analysis, digital evidence extraction, and complete reconstruction of Allen's movements and communications. Even details is now part of a growing body of evidence for prosecution. One of the most critical elements in this case is the manifesto Allen allegedly sent to family members just minutes before the attack. While the full document has not been officially released, the investigators confirm it exceeds 1,000 words and outlines both intent and ideological reasoning. Portions that have surfaced reveal calculated thinking and attempted to justify the attack. In those writings, Allen reportedly expressed hostility toward the current administration and framed the attack as necessary in his own view. He had also criticized what he described as a weakness in the event security, even mocking those vulnerabilities. Perhaps most notably, he acknowledged the consequences of his actions, stating he did not expect forgiveness. As the investigators continued digging into his background, they identified limited prior exposure to online and smaller media spaces. The reports have suggested he may have participated in minor interviews and digital discussions or politically themed content, though none reached a national prominence. These appearances are now under review for potential warning signs, including the shifts in tone and ideological escalation. At this time, there is no confirmed evidence that Allen maintained a large public platform or significant following prior to the attack. However, the federal investigators are analyzing whether his digital footprint and prior media interactions played a role in shaping his views or signaling intent. This will also include reviewing archived content and communications and any recorded appearances. Despite these emerging details, the Department of Justice has not finalized an official motive and continues to analyze all available evidence. Investigators are examining whether the acts are purely individual or influenced by broader narratives or ideologies. For now, the working conclusion remains that he acted alone, but could evolve as the case develops. Excuse me. On the legal front, the charges filed are among the most serious in federal law, including attempted assassination of the president and multiple firearm-related offenses. If convicted, Allen faces the possibility of life in prison, underscoring the gravity of the case. Prosecutors are expected to continue building additional charges as more evidence is processed. And what makes this case especially significant is not just the act itself, but what it reveals about vulnerabilities in high security environments. The White House Correspondents Dinner is one of the most high profile gatherings in the country, and any breach raises immediate national security concerns. This will likely lead to increased scrutiny and changes in such events as they are moving forward. Looking ahead, the case will now move through the federal court system where evidence will be presented and challenged. At the same time, the investigators will continue examining Allen's background, his digital footprint, and any possible influences that contributed to the attack. The goal is not only accountability, but a full understanding of how the incidents developed. For the public, one of the biggest questions is how much of the manifesto and investigative findings will become public through the court proceedings. That information will shape how the case is understood nationwide and would influence future policy and security measures. The transparency will likely be balanced against safety and the risk of amplifying a harmful content. The story is far from over, and new information will continue to emerge in the coming days and weeks. What began as a what began as a breaking incident has now become a defining federal case with long-term implications. Please stay locked in with the Unfiltered Political Lens as we continue to bring you every verified update completely unfiltered. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace. Hey guys, not so fast. I want to make a correction. There was a shotgun, a handgun, and knives found on the suspect. I miscalculated all the weaponry that he had on him at the White House Correspondents Dinner. And I just wanted to make that correction. So, peace for the second time, and I hope you all had a good day. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Later.